All right, it's Beantown Fantasy Football. It's week 9. This is the wide receiver edition. Let's start it off. Introduce the players. Ace Wonder, Mark Fury on the Jager. BG. BG is going to start us off this week. Wide receiver going into week 9. Who are you starting?
You know what? I gotta go with my man, Mr. Michael Crabtree versus Tennessee Titans. He's looking good so far. Yeah, I know Carlton Finnegan is coming back, but Crabtree is definitely gonna get some catches, probably put up 100 yards. He's gonna get a score because him and Alex Smith are looking right now. Start Michael Crabtree this week. For my other receiver, I would say take Santana Moss against the Atlanta Falcons and their whack pass defense. Santana Moss is a consistent receiver who will get the big play and will get a couple touchdowns, especially against the pass defense such as Atlanta's. So go with Santana and Crabtree this week.
I like Crabtree going against Tennessee. I think he's in for a big game. Who are you sitting?
You know what? I hate to do it, but gotta sit Andre Johnson against the Indianapolis Colts.
Tough.
I love Dre, but you know what? The Colts defense is serious. Dwight Freeney is just going to be on Shabby's ass all day long. And you know what? Dre did take that injury. I don't think he's going to really want to go over the middle against this Indy defense, which is very fast and hard hitting. Sit Dre.
What do you think of that?
I mean, Indy's D has only let up 3 passing touchdowns the whole year, like we said in the QB edition. So, Andre Johnson's dinged up. I mean, like Mark Fury said in the other edition too, Owen Daniels is out for the year. I mean, unhealthy Andre Johnson, it's not a good play.
Sounds like some confusion for Houston.
Even if healthy, I mean, they're going to have trouble. Freeney's just going to be all over the place. Like, Shabby ain't even going to be able to look for Johnson. They're going to definitely put the coverage on him.
All right. Those are great picks.
Yeah.
Ace Wonder going into week 9, wide receiver. Who do you like?
I like some of Debo. Dwayne Bowe.
What bike?
He's going to be enjoying this week going against the Jacksonville defense that has let up an average of 23 receptions a game. And I mean, Matt Castle's going to be looking right at him this week. And if you're in a PPR league, I think you should expect 8 to 10 catches from Bowe, maybe 100 yards. And it's not going to be a good day for Jack Del Rio and that Jacksonville defense.
He gonna cry in the car.
Yes,
He is. Boy.
My second started receiver is the same game, opposite team. Going with Mike Sims Walker. I think he's gonna bounce back this week from his 2-catch, 9-yard performance last week against a horrific Chiefs passing defense. They've allowed nearly 2 passing touchdowns a game. And look for
S.
W.
to bounce back this week and become the elite fantasy wideout that we've seen in the first couple of weeks of the season.
Who are you benching?
Oh, I'm benching Santonio Holmes going against the Broncos this week.
Like,
They've led up the second fewest touchdowns in the league to Indianapolis with 4 this year, and Santonio hasn't scored a TD since week 1. It seems like ages ago. So I think Holmes, he's getting averaging around 70 yards a game. I mean, but if you're looking for that breakout performance, Champ Bailey and the D of Denver is going to shut down Santonio this week.
yes, they will.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I've had Santonio Holmes, one of the most frustrating players to own. He's had, 100 yards. He can have 100 yards, but he has not found the end zone in almost a month. Very frustrating for Santonio Holmes owners.
That Super Bowl MVP curse.
I think he should be forced to give that back.
That was a great catch.
It's not even really a curse. It's just it's one great game, and one
Yeah.
great game doesn't make you an elite wide receiver. We saw the same thing happen with Deion Branch, who was very much the same player.
All right, Ace, thanks very much. Going into week 9 now, Mark Fury, your picks at wide receiver for week 9.
Well, it's really hard not to like Nate Burleson this week against the Detroit Lions.
Man crush.
Absolutely. Burleson is fresh off of a strong game against the Dallas Cowboys when he had 89 yards. He didn't score, but that's going to change this week. The Lions have allowed 18 passing touchdowns. The only team worse than that is the Tennessee Titanics. Look for Seattle's top threat to get around or over the century mark while hitting pay dirt at least once. This Detroit secondary is horrendous, and Burleson's got the wheels to beat them all day long.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. Who's your second start?
Well, my second start is Greg Jennings against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got off to a slow start. A lot of his owners probably aren't very confident in him, but he had a pretty strong game last week. He had 81 yards and a touchdown, and I expect him to build on that this week and be even better. Tampa Bay has given up 16 touchdowns through the air. Their corners are really questionable. Aqib Talib is very good, but I mean, he hasn't seen too many receivers like Greg Jennings in his career. He's still young, and Jennings is going to be able to beat him too.
Who are you sitting?
Well, speaking of early round receivers in your fantasy drafts, I'm sitting Steve Smith from the Carolina Panthers.
Oh.
He's the other Steve Smith now. The Giant Steve Smith has been better all year long. He might have given you some hope last week when he had that 50-yard touchdown against Arizona, but keep in mind that that touchdown happened because Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie got a little too aggressive again and got beat. He finished with 56 yards on the day, including that 50-yard touchdown. Delhomme got hurt, but bad news for Smith owners, he's expected to play. He practiced on Wednesday. So the Saints have the most interceptions in the league. Jake Delhomme's a train wreck. You do the math. Sit Steve Smith.
I'm not playing.
The doctors did everything they could. He pulled through anyway.
Yeah. And actually, one more guy at wide receiver. I have a quick sleeper pick. If you're looking for a guy in a deeper league, or if you just need wide receiver help in general, go get Malcolm Floyd. Get him immediately. Even if you don't like the matchup against the Giants, he had 64 yards last week. He's got good speed. He's got great size. And he ran Chris Chambers out of town.
All right, my pick at wide receiver. Let's start again with what I said before in the running back edition. I'm trying to go for those of you who are in deeper leagues, 12, 14 teams, looking for a flex play at that wide receiver, running back, tight end position this week. I'm going to start off with Sammy Strouder of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against what has proven to be a somewhat shaky Green Bay defense this year, despite plenty of talent. This guy caught my attention with a 63-yard grab against New England in London. It was the only real flash of brilliance I thought that came out of Tampa Bay. He also had that 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. If you're in a league that values that, that could be something to help you out. Green Bay is allowing only 195 reception yards on average per game. They've also allowed the 7th fewest passing yards in the NFL, but they have yielded 13 scores. Their red zone defense is without a doubt a problem. And in that case, that could mean things from Strouder. He seems to be the only one with a flash. Again, maybe 50, 60 yards and a score, but I don't think that's out of the question, especially for you and people in deeper leagues. Now, my second guy, and this is the last week I recommend him because I really shouldn't have to after this week. Ace Wonder touched on it a minute ago. That is Mike Wallace, the Swiss Army knife of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This guy runs, he rushes, he catches the ball, he's thrown a good block here and there. He's got great speed, he's an all-around team player. And with Santonio Holmes not being able to find the end zone with a flashlight, I think that Mike Wallace is a great start this week. Denver is definitely much better against the run, not so much against the pass. I mean, they're good, but if you're going to score in Denver, I think it's going to come through the air. So I think that could mean maybe 75 to 100 yards. 100 yards might be pushing it, but 75 yards and a score, combined rushing and passing for Wallace, I don't think is out of the question. He should be in your lineup going into week, I'm about to say, Brian Hartline, call it Brian Flatline of the Miami Dolphins. This guy was inserted as the wide receiver starting last week, didn't have a catch, didn't have a clue. The Wildcat offense has been lacking a go-to receiver, and I think it's still going to be. Ted Ginn ran back 2 touchdowns, and I don't think he's going to be a factor at wide receiver. The reason I'm going after this guy is I noticed some rosier than normal projected stats for this guy in Yahoo leagues, and it might be tempting for those of you out there who need a flex play to pick him up. You think, well, you know, maybe they'll get him the ball. I don't think they're going to find ways of getting him the ball. I don't think they care whether he gets it or not. They're going to be going with their running backs, showing New England things they haven't seen. And, you know, the Patriots rank 3rd in the NFL in terms of passing yards. You're not going to pass against the Patriots. It's just that simple, and certainly not with this guy. So, as Brian Hartline, don't believe the hype, don't believe the numbers. He won't help you.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Week 9 wide receiver edition of Beantown Fantasy Football. Thank you for watching. For Ace Wonder, Mark Fury, BG, I'm the Jaker. We'll see you right back here for the Tight End Team Defense edition. Thanks for watching.
You must protect this house!